Hello and welcome to Journalist Hangout on Sunday, your #1 program on television. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. Today on the program, United States demand trial of their captors. Ohaneze knocks IPOB and Nnamdi Kanu over succession plan. Nigeria to receive COVID-19 vaccines on Tuesday, and later on the show, 6 former governors eyeing APC chairmanship seats. I'll be hanging out with Adekunle Yusuf and Wale Adeoye. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Before staying with us, it's been one churning news after another regarding series of abductions that rocked Nigeria. This afternoon, 317 abducted schoolgirls of government secondary school in Jangebe, Zamfara State have been released. The release is coming 24 hours after kidnapped Kangara student in Niger State regained freedom. Okay, Adewale Adeoye, let me start from you. Now, we have conflicting signals on this. We can't independently confirm this release. But as at the time we spoke with our correspondent in Zamfara State, he told us, and we have a kind of our style, we believe our correspondent the more. So he told us that they've been released, they're making their way back to the state capital, while the federal government or the state government, they're still saying, no, they've not been released.
Well, as we speak now, we only hope it is true that they have been released. But whether they have been released or not does not change the reality of kidnapping. The reality that if you are driving as a Nigerian, if you drive for 10 kilometers, you are likely to see about 2-3 checkpoints. But at about 317 girls are kidnapped, and their kidnappers drive for about 300 kilometers, 100 kilometers, and no single police checkpoint to even stop them. So it tells us about
if you are driving in the southern part of the country.
Yes. Even
you can't drive 200 kilometers.
In some places, if you drive for instance, let's say it's something that happens all the time. You can still drive for 10 kilometers without any police checkpoint.
If you are driving from Benin or
10 kilometers, you see police checkpoint. You know, but here people 317 taking 100 kilometers, no single police. They did not encounter any security engagement, either the military or the air force or. So it's good news if they have been released. You know, we are glad. But then you have to look at the trauma these people must have passed through. Girls, terrible. You know, you have to look at what they have lost. Then you also have to look at the fact that it may happen again. Because for the fact that they have been released does not mean that the conditions that led to their kidnap has been eliminated. So even though we are happy that they may have been released, we are still not happy because the security situation in the country remains fundamentally the same.
I saw the Kangara schoolboys yesterday, and I was taken aback the level of treatment meted out on them, and the boys were even saying that at a point in time the terrorists were beating them, that they were beating them on a daily basis. I saw them; some of them could not walk well. I saw that visual, and they were in rags.
Honestly, it's really, really sad that Nigeria has become, a country that the whole world is laughing, at. They're laughing at us, at what we have become. And when you look at it, 3 mass abductions within 3 months is bad enough for any government, for any country. And who are the ones we are talking about? The ones that will be the future of our country. And you are not just abducting anybody, you are abducting school children. And you are not just abducting school children, you are abducting school children in the most backward part of Nigeria, educationally speaking.
Educational disadvantaged states.
That's what I mean by backwardness. And this is a part of the country where you have the bulk of Nigeria's out of school children. A problem several administrations have not been able to undo, and solve properly. Now we are worsening it. And what are we talking about? we have a set of criminals, insurgents, who said and are insisting and propagating that education is bad. Now, they are now going ahead to even inflict it into our memory now. Because when parents believe that school environment is no longer safe for his or her child, when the students themselves don't feel, safe in the school environment, how would they learn? How would they want to go to school? These are things that I believe should engage the mind of any serious leadership as we speak. Of course, we may celebrate the release of 317, but it's not something that is worth, being celebrated. Of course, we need these children back, but just as Mr. Adeoye here said, let me tell you, the same scenarios, the same conditions, the same factors that have made kidnapping a lucrative, kidnapping of young children, a lucrative business in Nigeria. We are not yet talking about them. We are not yet addressing them. And this time around, we hug the government, we be very happy, everybody will clap for government, security agencies, and we go back to our own. But let me ask you, just as Wale said, how can, in a country that has government, how can a set of people, criminals, invade a place and abduct 300 plus children? Believe me, it will take, even though we have never, witnessed a live, abduction, but I know for sure it will take a long time. Even if you bring, long, lorries, trucks, big vehicles and all that, it will take at least close to 1 hour, if not more, to be able to get these children. Now, after doing that, there will be uproar, there will be cries, there will be wailings, there will be noises, and all these things were never enough at any time to invite security agencies to stop this, bandit, nip this thing in the bud. Then they will succeed in cutting away, children as if they are animals. And later, we continue to talk about it again. What is really wrong? Honestly, I'm really afraid about the future of our country.
While the police say they are doing a wonderful job to rescue the abducted girls, and eventually days ahead will tell us who did what in the rescue of these girls if they have been rescued.
Well, the police will always try to give the impression that they are not responsible for any shortcomings that relates to their responsibilities. But I don't expect anything different from the pattern of response, historical pattern of police response to kidnapping that we have seen in the past 10 years. The policemen in Zamfara are also the same Nigerian policemen. So if they are saying that they are, working effectively and all that, it is the end product that will justify the means. Because the fact of the matter is that crime is about nipping crime in the bud. Prevention is the most effective mechanism of dealing with crime all over the world. So in the first instance that this crime was committed, it's really a shame. Because we have seen students abducted.
Okay. Yeah. Ruben is calling us from Saple, that's in Delta States. Thank you for staying with us, Ruben.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Go ahead with your contribution, Ruben.
Okay. See, I heard you say something about the checkpoints from Lagos to Benin.
Yes.
See, I traveled all the way from Lagos. That was last week to Delta State here, and then I left Lagos around 7 to this place. Before I got to Benin, I can tell you I passed over 150 checkpoints, including vigilantes on the road. Vigilantes on the road. These were people who were collecting money from motorists, cars, all those food products, vehicles on the way. And they are not even ashamed. They were making it very obvious. If you have your money, 500 naira, go to the other lane and pass. It's so appalling. We blame our leaders, but the people will
150 checkpoints from Lagos to Delta states.
And the people we put on the road are not even helping matters. They tell the people, go and collect, go to the other lane. If you are not willing to pay 500 naira to pass, go and pass the other side and pay your money and go. It's so bad. We are trying of insecurity in the north, and we have over 150 checkpoints. Let them redeploy some of these men to those places, and let the checkpoints on our way, on our highways, be accountable. Some people just come there with different kind of vehicles, wear police uniform, and they say they are mounting checkpoints. It is very wrong. If we continue like this, we will never get it right. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wale was okay.
Okay. What you were making a point before?
Yes, that the best would have been to prevent the crime from happening in the first place. I felt that a state like Zamfara should have mapped out vulnerable institutions, especially girls' schools, and provide the necessary infrastructure so that and security architecture so that this kind of thing will not happen. If you go to military institutions or police institutions, they have what they call listening post. It's usually very tall. In the night, you listen to any strange movement, and then you alert, you pass the information to other security people. In the afternoon, they call it watching post. It's usually a kind of tour. So you can see things coming with binoculars, night vision binoculars. You can see distance of about 50 kilometers away. So that if there are enemies that are coming in the night, you pick them immediately. And we are talking about hundreds of armed men. And immediately you pick this signal, you relate to the security operatives for immediate action. So I think for the fact that we could not prevent this crime from happening in the first place, shows that we have failed.
Adekunle Yusuf, the United States demand immediate release and trial of captors. That means why are you laughing?
I believe
those bandits before now, we've not seen any serious prosecution and people being brought to justice. Right now, people are calling for you have to.
You see,
you have to put them on trial.
Matters have gone to a length now that we have to talk. We need to talk to the leadership of Nigeria, the leadership of our security agencies. There is no way, and I'm saying it with all emphasis, there is no way a set of hoodlums or bandits or insurgents will be bigger than the Nigerian military. It's impossible. There is no way they will be bigger than all the might of Nigerian security agencies combined. Believe me, it's impossible. When you look at what has been happening, the governor of Katsina State, at some point, that is the home state of Mr. President, at some point started something to me that was very strange. He started negotiating with bandits. He even took pictures publicly with them, with heads of security agencies in the state. And hoodlums were so proud to take pictures with their guns heavily armed. The day I saw that, I said, Nigeria is going to do, to destroy itself finally. We've had problems before, but now we are going to. Before you know it, when you negotiate with bandits, when you pay ransom, what you are doing directly is that you are creating vistas of business for criminals to remain in business. And we are shouting that these bandits, they are an arm of Boko Haram, that the money they make, they use in buying ammunition. But many people didn't want to listen. With what we have seen so far, many bandits have been arrested. They are predominantly in the northern part of the country. We have in the south as well. But the biggest problems we are facing now, the crisis we have it in the north, you still see some formerly respected voices from that region educating us that these are good guys, they are not criminals. Whereas a little understanding of English language will tell you that for somebody to say I'm a bandit or you call somebody, the person means a criminal. Now you are saying they are good guys. Before you solve any problem, the first thing you should do is, first of all, to understand what the problem is, then come to ground with the reality or enormity of the issues. That I have never seen on the part of the leadership of Nigeria. So now, when you talk about arrest and trial, you cannot try people you don't believe are criminals. People you don't believe they are saying that we should even give them amnesty. And government and in some of our elites are never ashamed to even romance and openly identify with these criminals. So that's the problem. All this we need to address first. So when the US is saying prosecute them, the US we need to know that the problem we have now is because we are playing the ostrich game, that we don't seem to know that we're having a big problem. Number one, if you want to take care of these people, it is not by giving them amnesty. It's not by giving them all these abductions that have been taking place. Nobody can believe any government that said it didn't pay anything. If you don't pay in cash, you must pay. You must have paid in kind, because these criminals who believe in making money through kidnapping, they are not doing it for any other thing. They are doing it for their own survival. They started with private individuals. You understand me? And when they realize that when they kidnap, the family will run around, they now realize that the people that can pay their price, that can pay the biggest sum, is government. They now started attacking, soft targets, schools.
Okay, let's pick this call. Wale is calling us from Lagos. Thank you for staying with us, Wale. Hello, Olawale from Lagos.
Okay, Olawale from Lagos. Good afternoon, Ayo.
Good afternoon, Wale.
Yeah, good afternoon, and the other members.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes. Good afternoon.
I just have a small contribution.
Go ahead, please.
This drama being done in Nigeria is a monumental shame for the nation. This idea of kidnapping today, release tomorrow, it does not do well. Right from the beginning of Boko Haram insurgency, how many Boko Haram have been arrested, prosecuted, and jailed? How many bandits have been arrested, prosecuted, and jailed? How many kidnappers have been arrested, prosecuted, and jailed? So this thing will continue because, and the dangerous dimension added to it now is for government to go and be negotiating with bandits and to be rewarding them. This is bad for the country. God bless you, Ayo.
Thank you, Wale. Thank you, Wale. We were told that female combatants were among the gunmen that abducted the Zamfara schoolgirls. So they've succeeded in indoctrinating some other ladies. And when you look at this thing, their numbers, they keep growing because it's a lucrative business. Yeah. It's one of the fastest growing industries in Nigeria right now. And when you look at it, you secure ammunition through our porous borders, and you get a kingpin, and you start collecting ransom, and you'll be staying in the forest, and somebody will come and pay you. We don't know what was given to the Kangara boys. We don't know how much will be given to these girls for the release of these girls. And it's a vicious circle.
I think the issue of the girls being involved, we are yet to say with 100% certainty. Some of the people that escaped said they noticed some dressed like are women. But we need more intelligence probe to confirm maybe it was a kind of a decoy. Some men dressing like women, okay, in order to delude the kidnapped victims, or they were actually women. But if we find out that they are women, I personally will say that I'm not surprised. Because in the past, we have seen women suicide bombers that were engaged, as suicide bombers. So if women are now engaged as combatants, I think it's not going to be strange to me. It shows that the network of terrorism is becoming more strengthened, is becoming more organized, because once women are involved, it is very easy to penetrate, a lot of communities and institutions, because nobody will easily suspect that a woman, will be carrying weapons and all that. So I think for the fact that some people that are well respected in the country visit these bandits in their enclaves, confer some kind of moral authority, on those bandits, sitting and dining with people that we have a lot of respect for. So, and that's why people always warn that it's not always good to negotiate with bandits. When ordinary people, ordinary journalists cannot even take pictures, with respected people, then you are seeing criminals, taking pictures with them, posting with them, having a kind of photoshops, photo ops, with bandits, with criminals, with killers. So I think what has happened in the past few weeks has strengthened, their consolidation.
It has, journalists,
it has emboldened them.
Not to refer to them as bandits.
Well, it's not going to teach us. It's not going to teach us how we are going to qualify them. He is not a journalist, so we have to do our jobs. If he wants to give them accolades that are more diplomatic, he can set up a newspaper. But the fact of the matter is that their action as defined by the English dictionary and as defined by a political lexicon all over the world, they are pure terrorists.
Even government called them,
so call them terrorists. So I don't think you can tell us, what to call, because that is exactly what they are. And you could see there is a conscious effort to change the narrative, to change the media perception and public perception of what this guy stands for. People that kill, people that rape for money, people that, create instability in the country. And I think the biggest problem we have in this country now is terrorism. And we are not just a burden on ourselves. We are a burden to the entire West Africa, to the all member states. People in Ghana are worried. People in Togo, Gambia, everywhere, they are worried that the country of 200 million people is going down the drain, is going on a ruinous path to its kind of cesspool. Because if anything happens here, it's going to destabilize the whole regional, sub-regional network. So we need to get our leaders to wake up and realize that what is happening is extremely bad and something has to be done. Decisive actions must be taken. When people keep on referring to their hidden forest and all that, those places are not really forest too. That is the fact. If you want to see forest, go to Akwa Ibom, go to Delta, go to Ondo State. Which kind of forest are we talking about? They use that word in order to give the impression it's a fortified zone, people cannot enter the place. They are not real forests. We have the geography of where forests are located all over West Africa. And when you see those places and you are saying they are hidden in forest and all that, they are not forest. If you want to see forest, go to forest is a place where you have dense undergrowth, tropical forest that is very difficult to penetrate. These guys are not hiding anywhere. They are just there. We saw the pictures. When Gumi went there to, what forest are you talking about? So they make it, give the pleasure and see it's very difficult to pick them. So I think we need to stop deceiving ourselves if we are really serious about the future of Nigeria, so as to save this current generation, from a kind of catastrophe that we don't need at this moment.
Okay, I have a call from the United Kingdom. Sadiq is calling us from the UK.
Everyone.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, Ayo. My own contribution. Yes,
all right.
My own contribution to this issue. I'm happy 3 of you have traveled out before. And when you are inside the aircraft and the plane hits a turbulence, serious one, you know how it fares. So it's the same thing. People that have been kidnapped before, they can tell the story. We can't because we have not been kidnapped. This thing is pure business. I must assure you that. Pure business. There is no way they will kidnap 300 and something people, and the third day, they just release them for you. It's like fooling us. These people is an insider. They are getting money from the government. And like one of you said, it's giving us a bad image here. And they are laughing at us. BBC, Sky News, they said they were laughing at us. In Nigeria, they kidnap 300. It's not giving us. When you say you are from Nigeria, you say, oh, what about people who they kidnap? You see, this thing is not, our government is not serious at all.
Thank you, Adi. Thank you for your contribution. Adekunle Yusuf, there's been conflicting, governors of northern governors, they've not been on the same page on how to handle these bandits. Some are saying we need to talk with them. I listened to Kayode Fayemi saying that, look, the governors, we have to exhaust every other means, including dialoguing with these people. And Nasir El-Rufai has been consistent by saying that you don't dialogue with bandits, that the more money you throw at them, they get more ammunition and they cannot repent, that they are fixed in their ways, that the only way you can do it is using force.
Well, me, I'm totally in favor of never, ever to dialogue with criminals, because that's who bandits are. And to confuse us very well, we have some of our people comparing bandits in the north with Niger Delta militants. That the same government of Nigeria gave amnesty to people in Niger Delta, and they try to compare apple and oranges, which are not the same. They forgot the fact that those in the Niger Delta, they formed their groups and they were agitating, against environmental spoliation, financial injustice, and all those things that they think their section of country is passing through, which nobody has been able to deny. It's obvious to everybody. Our people in the north, the bandits, they are not fighting for anybody. They are fighting for their own pocket, and they have no issue. If they say Nigeria is not fair to them, I will ask you, is Nigeria fair to you? Is Nigeria fair to me? So everybody has one grievance or the other. Why are you not taking up arms against Nigeria? Why am I not doing the same? So believe me, any government that dialogues with criminals is only encouraging more criminality. See, there are some, the last caller, there are some things that, worry me. I listened to the police command in Zamfara State that said they are doing wonderful, they are doing everything, they are doing very well and all that. The same police said the combined team of Army, Air Force, police, that they are in the forest, led by the Commissioner of Police, they are in Rocky Deeds, they are doing area surveillance. And I'll say, okay, our our security agencies, I don't know this kind of school they went to. Is it really proper to give out all this kind of information when you are in a crisis like this? What's the purpose? When you are in distress,
they've not been doing anything.
That doesn't work. That's counterproductive. When you are in crisis in Nigeria and you make a distress call, and you expect police to come, police will be coming with siren, woo, woo, woo. And I'll say, okay, are we really okay in our country? When you are meant to use siren, you will not use. When you are not meant to use siren, you will use. So the approach I see in fighting, crime, to me is not the right way. Then coming back to our elite, I'm not too sure that there is no conspiracy between bandits and some of our elites. The way many of them are so comfortable talking to criminals, the way some of them are comfortable asking for amnesty, asking for one form of, inducement or whatever for our criminals, it worries me that until maybe our elites, they do some soul searching, that what do we really want to do with our country? That is it the kind of country they want their children to be proud of? That why is everybody, doing this? Because we don't have another country except Nigeria. With what I've seen so far, the leadership of security agencies, some of them may be bad eggs. Then the political leadership, some of them may be bad eggs. Now, religious leadership, we need to also, from what I've seen so far, some of them, we need to beam, searchlights on them. Because what's their business romancing criminals? Whereas it should be the duty of political leadership to solve security problems. They now impose themselves, or self-imposed task of being the one to the extent that they now mouthpiece of
I have this caller from Makurdi, Benue State. Oh. Thank you for staying with us.
Thank you for having me and your guests over there.
Okay, Gaba.
Let me make my contribution expressly this way. I'm from North. I'm from Ghana. But I will urge on elite and religious leaders in the North. This conspiracy of silence, we cannot continue like that. To be sincere, we can't do it. And the fact is that some of our leaders, I don't know, political leaders, they are benefiting from all this nonsense. And if this to continue like that, to discourage our people that are living in rural areas to send their children to school, mostly girls. You know what we are battling in the North? I know not very well. You see a girl of 10 years, 13 years, instead to go to school, they will be hawking on the street. How they getting me? So I'm calling on the leaders from the North, the religious clerics. They should come out and condemn bastard act. No society can progress, can develop with this kind of attitude. I was watching Al Jazeera this morning. They make a report from that Jangebe there. They say after the school, there is security checkpoint, 2 security checkpoints. After the school, ask me a question. What are they doing that night? They cannot raise alarm when that thing is going on. So we have to be very careful. Our elite, our religious leader, that they keep on quiet in the North, they should wake up. If not, it is something that can convince every one of us. Have a nice day, Lagos.
Thank you, Gaba from Makurdi. Wow. In the same vein, Professor Wole Soyinka has lamented, the abduction of students. Once that this could become a culture.
Yeah. I think like...
we are trying to encourage education in the country.
Yes, like my good friend said. Negotiating with bandits, you have to be very, very careful. It's not as if all over the world people don't have discussion with them, especially when you know there could be collateral damage. For example, when you take the case of the raid on Etebe, the then Prime Minister was having negotiation with, Idi Amin when an Air France plane was hijacked by Palestinians. But while he was having that dialogue with them, he was actually planning on how to storm Entebbe to rescue his people. So what the Prime Minister did was to engage Idi Amin in discussion, with Shimon Peres, who was then the defense minister. Eventually they went there and raided and took their people away. Because the disagreement in the Israeli caucus at that time was whether it was right to go and negotiate with the terrorists or not. The Israelites took the option of, down the consequences. So when you begin to negotiate and you now make it a state policy, that is what I think is emerging in Nigeria now. It's becoming more or less like a state policy. Once people are kidnapped, then the next thing is to negotiate and then you pay money. And then they use this money to buy arms and then the stake goes up because they are going to kidnap more people and then ask for more money. So I think like what Professor Soyinka has said, Professor Soyinka remains one of the few conscience of the nation. And he has, retained this status for almost more than half a century. So we need to respect. These are people that have seen the history of the country for several years. They know what has been happening. They have been part of it. They have been victims. They have been oppressed. So he remains not just conscious of Nigeria, conscious of Africa, conscious of the world. So at this age, if he's speaking and we don't listen, there must be something wrong with us. So I think I align myself with the position of Professor Soyinka that we need to, people should not just think that he's talking again. We must listen to him because he was here during the Civil War. He has passed through during the Operation Weti and all that. So these are the real statesmen who don't say things because they are looking for what they are going to benefit. So with Nigerian government, these are the kind of people they should listen to. And if they really want people to advise them, I think these are the kind of people they should call to give them advice on the way to go and deal with terrorism.
It's really a trying time for state governors. As Niger State government revises number of rescued Kakara schoolboys, and were silent on the ransom. Nobody's talking about ransom. By the time they're released, they're rescued, we don't want to know. Everything is that, oh, we've seen our loved ones and they've been released to their families and everything. But the bottom line, the actions and what we engage in to get them out, by the time it's still 3 months, we now know the impact of what we might have done in getting them out.
Something that I know is very sure is that there is no sincerity on the part of political leadership in Nigeria. Federal, states.
They can't pick up the microphone and start telling you, and start telling Nigerians that they actually paid ransom.
That's what I'm saying.
Nobody will actually own up to that.
Because there is no sincerity. There's no sincerity. From the federal...
You expect them to own up?
Believe me, you are leading Nigerians. You have failed them. You need to win back their confidence. Okay, how can you tell me you are a leader of Nigeria and you want me to believe you are competent and under your watch every time, recurrently, kidnappings, mass kidnappings, not just anybody, school children. It's too bad. So, and when we say, let's solve this problem, they are not united. They don't have an approach. They don't have any solution. Nobody is running down anybody. But they don't have any. Ask this governor, ask this minister, ask this. They don't have an approach. You think it's right to even drink tea with them? Do you want someone to say, oh, let's give them money? This one will say, don't you know some of the demands, of these criminals? Mm-hmm. That the few ones they were able to, the government was able to arrest, they said they should release them. So that is to say, if you are not paying in cash, you are also paying, you're probably paying in kind, or both. Or both. And when you are doing that, you are undermining your national security. You are undermining peace and welfare of this country. That is what is happening. And until we have this consensus, we are all united that, oh, this is a problem and this is the way we want to go. So that, in solving the problem. Until we do that, we can't achieve anything. Up to this afternoon, political leadership in Nigeria is still confused about what to do to solve the problem of banditry. From the north to the south, the position is not the same. So when you are not united, then when you want to hear after the man in Niger State, I don't know whether the last production we did, even came out to say the presidency has abandoned them.
When he met
and the children. He said it. That is a government APC, a federal government APC. So you won't tell me that they are playing politics. Yeah. It's the same ruling party. Now, if you step further to Zamfara, which is PDP, by virtue of Supreme Court judgment and all that happened, if he had been the one raising that kind of comments, I may not believe him. You understand my point? So you need a national consensus on this crisis first. That is lacking for now. Yeah. And the only thing we've had from the presidency is through a statement that the president will not tolerate banditry. We don't need words. We need actions. Serious actions. How can you tell me that we are serious when in 3 months we have 3 mass abductions of school children? It means we are not serious. Let me tell you, one of the ones, one of those that escaped during the Niger State abduction said when they came, or is it Zamfara? When they came, that one of these who came, was calling, telling his people that we are already in the school, we are catching them, we are getting them now. That another one was speaking in Fulani language. You saw the interview. We are saying, you asked us to do biometric, of this of our mobile lines, and we have security agents who cannot track anything. The same security agents, agencies of Nigeria, they will show you that they can be proactive. When they will say, we have intelligence that some people want to organize, a back-home smear campaign against the president. If you are proactive in protecting the government, please be proactive in protecting the ordinary, Nigerians.
So we have Momo from Lagos. Thank you for joining us. Yes, go ahead with your contribution, please. Momo from Lagos.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. There's something we should do. We have governors who are the head of security in this country, who secure the state from each state, from one state to another. They have security votes. One, we should ask them what they are doing with this money. Number one. Let me tell you, Arthur once said that any security breakdown in a country that lasts 24 hours.
I think I missed one more there.
That's a problem.
Missed one more there. And before
yes, I was trying to say that in our country today, leadership is lacking. That's the essence of my thing. You need leadership to solve this problem because you must forge a national consensus first. We all define the problem the same way. Then we now map out strategy, a united front. If not, this problem will continue. As we are speaking, we don't know the next state where abduction will take place. Because you see states like Kano now, because of what happened in Zamfara, quickly closed all its boarding schools. Because you have many boarding schools in the north. You remember that's the part of country where you have the highest number of out of school children. And despite the fact that some of them truly want to solve the problem, there has not been enough commitment to solving it. You remember what happened in Kaduna when they realized that they can use school feeding to attract, students to come to school. The children will come to school, they will eat, and immediately after that, they run back up. So the best, to me, one of the approaches that I felt is wonderful in solving the out-of-school problems in the Northeast, having, boarding school and all that, because that's usually a good way to take many of these children out of school. But now, that thing that's working a bit, is being destroyed now. And that should give us, all of us, a lot of worry.
One of President Ganduji's age, Governor Ganduji's age, was said to have been arrested for asking for President Buhari to resign. Please, can you shed more light on this?
Well, I think that's Yakasai, the essay on media. Well, I think that he did the same thing earlier. He was sacked, reinstated again. And then for me, I think what he expressed was his personal opinion within the context of the same political party. Our constitution recognizes the right to...
That the APC has failed in its primary responsibility.
It recognizes the right
across federal and state governments.
To personal opinion. But when you are holding a very sensitive political position, then you need to be very cautious, because nobody can misquote silence. Sometimes it's better for you to be silent, even though you have your own private opinion. But that what he has said, I don't think it's enough.
Can that justify his arrest by the DSS?
No, it's not enough for the DSS to go and pounce on him. For what reason?
Criticizing the ruling party.
Because even if he's a governor, there are governors that in APC that have said things like that now, that attack the president. So I think the DSS people are overzealous. They just want to give the impression that they're on the, doing their job. It's wrong. People, even if he's a governor or whoever he is, to say that, in fact, the fact of the matter is that what the guy said is a plain fact that we all know, that is on the lips of every Nigerian. And I think such people should be respected. If you can have such a person in a party, a ruling party, I think that kind of person has a long way to go, because he shows that he's somebody that has conscience, that in spite of his position, he's not carried away, by the privileges and perks of offices. So I hope the DSS will release him on time. Though they are giving the impression that they didn't arrest him because of, but who is going to believe that? So I see no reason why they should not. I see no reason why they should not release him immediately.
All All right, moving on now. It appears things are falling apart between Pan-Igbo Socio-Cultural Organization, Ohaneze Ndigbo, and the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB. The President General of Ohaneze, Professor George Obiozo, berated IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu and his conspirators over calls for secession of the region. He said it has made people point accusing fingers at Igbos and as secessionists. This is, under the former leadership of Ohaneze Ndigbo, Professor Aniel, the former minister under Abdul Salami, made it abundantly clear that he does not identify what Nnamdi Kanu is doing, the way he's going about his agitation. Now, we have a new leader now in Ohaneze, that's Professor George Obiozo, and he's saying that, look, this, when you just step out of Nigeria now, the truth of the matter is that it's a very, very popular agitation, IPOB. What Nnamdi Kanu is saying every day, and Nnamdi Kanu has succeeded in convincing some Nigerians that Professor President Muhammadu Buhari is not the person in Aso Rock, and some people will tell you, and you just have to have a good laugh.
Well, me too. I dislike, the approach of people like Nnamdi Kanu. I've never liked, what he's doing. But this is not people like Nnamdi Kanu that can divide Nigeria or that can make, the Igbos to secede. It's the collective actions of leadership of Nigeria. When Igbos believe that they have a future in the marriage they call Nigeria, when Igbos are well treated, when you do justice, when there's equity, when everybody has a sense of belonging, believe me, there's little Ohaneze can do. They can talk. But what Kanu is doing is highly, watch my word, highly popular among Igbos, locally and the diasporas. He's highly, and I'm using the word, thank God, I'm close to Igbos a lot. I do go there and I know what is happening. But many Igbos will never, and I want to think, many of them will never want to identify or even listen to agitations by Kanu and his group. But what the federal government, does or does not do, most times make them to, see reason that Nnamdi Kanu is fighting for them. Believe me. So, in a society like Nigeria, you too try to do, an unbiased analysis. Has Nigeria be fair to every tribe in Nigeria, both Igbos and non-Igbos? So if you are not fair to them, you will give opportunity for people like Kanu to have a field day and to start talking and to start having, people who believe in him and whatever he says. But the best way, to me, the best way for Nigeria to make people like Kanu irrelevant is create a level playing field for everybody in Nigeria. Let's do a Nigeria that is totally inclusive. Not a Nigeria that favors a section, a Nigeria that normally treated against a section or other. When everybody look at big countries like America, like India, and all this where you have large populations, they don't. It's not one tribe that you see there. You see a mixture of several. Why? How many of them are complaining? Today, Nigeria is more divided than it has ever been. It's why? Look at the appointments when they do. Look at the way they run Nigeria. So when George Obiozo is an international, figure. Of course, an Igbo man, but he belongs in the international, status when you want to talk about Nigerians. So you won't see George Obiozor reducing himself, Professor George Obiozor reducing himself to. So I'm not surprised that he's saying it. I know I can predict what people like him will say, even though he's an able man. But the truth is that we need to start addressing the real problems. Where have we gone wrong? What are we doing right? What are we not doing right? What are we doing to fuel agitations like those of, Nnamdi Kanu? That, okay, the man is enjoying large followership. Why? How do you make it irrelevant? You understand my point? That's that kind of thing I want to see in the national, politics of Nigeria. But when we don't do that, we believe that this country is for so section and others exist at the appendages. Believe me, we are lucky in Yoruba land, but we still have some figures like Nnamdi Kanu. You know that? I think there was one in UK sometimes ago.
Granson.
That was insulting.
I think you got Granson.
That was insulting. That's not the Yoruba that I know. But how many followership has he drawn from Yoruba land? He has not been able to win, but he may get there. Because remember, Kanu didn't start this agitation. Remember this our Wazirike
Chief Ralph.
long. So if you allow things to go, they degenerate gradually, and when it gets to a level, it becomes unmanageable. Believe me. Now, how many positions can Nigeria entrust Igbos to handle? Sensitive positions. Well, let's be realistic. So if you are not doing that, since Obasanjo left power, I have not seen any administration that has been able to prove very well that all Nigerians are equal.
What do you think is fueling these agitations?
Well, like you said about Ohanaeze, is the apex Igbo body, and I think respected in the Southeast within the economic and political class. But in terms of influence, in terms of structure, especially among younger people, younger generation of Igbo people, I think Ohanaeze has very limited authority. More so as we speak, Ohanaeze is divided into two factions. There is also one being championed by Uche Okoko, who is also a well-known progressive. So if the Ohanaeze just makes that kind of statement in terms of his membership, I don't think Ohanaeze has 10% of what IPOB seems to have. So I see that statement as just to serve political interest. It does not mean it's not a good statement. But in terms of Ohanaeze having the authority to impose his moral authority on the East, I don't think it has that.
We know that that's the apex sociocultural body. It's just like talking about Afenifere.
Sure, but in terms of control of the mass, of the angry majority, the Ohanaeze people, many of them are comfortable people. That is the reality. But we are talking of people on the street. I think I don't agree with Kanu's method. There is a difference between your mission, which is, if it's self-determination, it is recognized by the United Nations Charter, of which Nigeria is a signatory. That if you want the right to political autonomy, provided you pursue it in a non-violent manner. I don't agree with his rhetoric, his profiling, but what he is demanding for, we cannot say that it's not legal. We may disagree with the method. His reckless statements and his attempt to make enemies almost from every part of the country. And his lack of the need for tactical alliance, even with people that surround your people. So I think to that extent, I don't agree with him. But I think, like he has said, our responsibility is to make Nigeria will have been a very great country. 200 million people, the biggest black nation in the world, the giant of Africa. But you cannot say it's good for a man to have 300 children. That is better for somebody having 10 children. When those 300 children are very poor, there are so many bandits among them, they are fighting among each other, they are killing each other. Then somebody has just 5 children, they are well educated. So that person is better. Look at smaller countries like Norway, like Sweden, 6 million, 7 million, Israel, 6 million.
South Africa.
It's South Africa.
Ghana.
You know, Ghana is, people are moving from Nigeria to Ghana.
To Sudan.
We are moving from Nigeria to go and buy vehicles in Togo. You want to buy, before now, you say, okay, you see signboard, tailor, trained in London. Come and, so now you see, there is a Ghanaian teacher here, call. They will put Ghanaian trained, tailor, Ghanaian trained, tilers, you know, from Togolese.
Togo and Benin Republic.
Well, what are we talking? We have been driven into the red light district of global affairs. And I don't think our population is what matters now, but the quality, you know, of the kind of life we live. So unless we address this issue, there's going to be too many canon, you know, springing up. So the only way the government can douse that agitation is not just by a police system, by political heavyweights. It will not go anywhere. But address, okay, we are talking about having dialogue with armed people in the bush. Then Kanu cannot even come to his country. You can't even dialogue with him. Somebody has not taken up arms. But you are having dialogue with people that are armed, who are kidnapping, who are raping. So what are we talking? So the Nigerian government, we must sit down, talk to ourselves before it is too late.
All right, we'll take this break. When we come back, we'll discuss more. It's two journalists hangout on Sunday. Yes, it's journalist hangout on Sunday, a special one on Sunday for 2 hours, 120 minutes.
Yes.
I have with me Adekule Yusuf, the one I call Kuleshi.
God bless
and I
you.
also have Wale Adeoye with me.
Ever smiling, Wale Adeoye.
Even when Wale, you've had several events. I've attended some of your events, and it has always been on this security, unity, how are we going to take advantage of our diversity and everything. But never in the history of this country, at least while growing up as a Nigerian, have I ever witnessed a divided Nigeria like this.
Yeah, I think everyone should be able to say that with all sense of honesty. I have not seen Nigeria divided in this manner, you know, that we have on our hands. All the programs that we have had in Kano, Kaduna, Abuja, Port Harcourt, some 6-7 years ago, we saw this problem because people came to express their grievances. And I'm sure because international organizations like Ford Foundation, they saw the problem. So they were able to assist organizations, go and make peace, go out 6-7 years ago. Because from 2011, that Libya collapsed and then crisis started in the Maghreb region, any visionary person will have known that Nigeria is in trouble. Because it means you have loose cannon, Nigerians in Libya who are already in the army, everybody's, you know, taking up arms, looting treasure, and then coming back to Nigeria. So we saw this thing and we made recommendations. Government, in fact, Kaduna gave us one of the best kind of support because Arwan was there, you know, representative Muyiwa was, Adike was there, and they stayed throughout the 2 days, and they listened to people, Miete Allah, all of them, talking that, look, there's a problem on our hands. We need to take steps. And we made the recommendations. These are the things you need to, sustainable platforms where people can come together, deal with conflict signals. Because these things usually start as a kind of a budding plant, and then it begins to grow. But when it's starting, if you can nip it in the bud, we are going to save the country from all sort of crisis that we are talking about. Take what has happened in Ogun State. We have some communities who are taking over and displaced. Nobody is talking about that. But if a group can have a kind of stronghold on a particular territory, on governed region, there's nothing they will not do. So before you know what is going to happen, we may be heading towards what we are seeing in Borno State. When it started in Borno, it was like a child's play. But our governors did not take it serious. They didn't take any decisive step to invite the stakeholders, you know, punish those that are supposed to be punished instead of trying to pamper them. You know, and then we allow this thing to grow out of hands to the extent that they are buying sophisticated weapons, you know, building their own governments inside the forest, and they're threatening the stability of the state. So we made a lot of recommendations to all the governors, states and all that, you know. In Lagos, we are having meetings almost every month, you know, the Hausa, Kanuri, and we learned a lot about the grievances of the people. Sometimes there will be conflict in my town, they will call us, we'll go there, meet all their leaders. But state governors are more interested in electoral functions. When you make recommendations to them, if it has nothing to do with the elections and all that, they throw it into the dustbin. So we are not dealing with people that are driven by ideas, driven by intellectual power. And that's why we see developed democracies. When there's a problem in the next 10, 15 years, they see it and then they begin to work to prevent it. So I think we are aware of all these problems, but we just fail to be proactive. And that's why today we have a very huge problem on our hands. We can still resolve these problems if we are serious, if there is a political way, and if we are honest with ourselves. But like what he's saying, there is no national consensus. You know, these people are saying they are saints, these people are saying they are criminals. So there must be a kind of lowest common factor, LCA, that we must all agree that we need to deal with terrorism.
I noticed that every election cycle, 2011, 2015, 2019, is always dividing us the more. And we're going into 2023 now. And the coast is still not clear from what I'm seeing that any of the major political parties, I don't think any of them are ready to field candidates even from the southeast as the presidential candidate.
Me too. I don't think
APC, PDP.
No, it's very difficult for anybody to say PDP will pick its candidate, presidential candidate, because we have two political parties. Forget all other mushroom, parties. These two big parties, they are the ones with the structure and financial muscle
across
national spread, popularity, everything that can win presidential election. I have not seen anyone who is able to say, yes, we have decided we are picking our presidential candidate from the southeast.
At least like what happened in 1999. Was it 99?
Yes.
Between Olufalaye and Olusegun Obasanjo, that the generals, they felt that they wanted to use it to, assuage the southwesterners because of the annulment of June 12.
The situations may not actually be the same, but in the spirit of national unity,
yes, that it has never gotten to this side.
Politics of inclusiveness, believe me.
That 3 R's.
Believe me, to be a wonderful, decision for one of the two to say, okay, we are narrowing our candidates to Igbo land. You cannot tell me that it's only Yoruba land and the north that you can find presidential materials. I can close my eyes and count at least 5 Igbo daughters and sons that can turn Nigeria. Do you know Nigeria is losing a lot by excluding Igbos from national management of its affairs? Because these people, we need them to bring their natural talents into the affairs of running Nigeria. It will help. I said it and I'm saying it again. You can make 1 million Nnamdi Kanus irrelevant within a short time. Why? Because when people see that our future lies in this, we are better off in this, and everything is fine in this, why would you go and try something you are not? You can't ditch, you can't stop certainty and chase uncertainty.
So it's still you understand this cry of marginalization that is foiling the agitation.
But we've been having it year after year. In 2015, don't forget, when the same master stroke that the APC used, probably, they say they will pay them back in their own coins. You understand my point? The PDP retained its ticket, presidential ticket in the south, then smart APC,
went up north.
So you can know each party has the right to decide whatever they decide. What we are saying here is not politics. We are just discussing national interest, national unity. But when it comes to politics, our people in politics don't see all this. They only see how to grab power, how to win votes, how to win elections. And after that, every other thing is secondary. So that's what is most important to them.
Is that something that struck me? That it's possible to render somebody like Nnamdi Kanu useless in the shortest time. just by addressing one or two things.
Absolutely. It can be done.
His agitations, his message, what it
Yes,
stands
absolutely.
for. That's, look,
All you just need to do is to put the cards on the table and be very honest with the demands that people are making. And like I said, we don't have any justification to say that Igbos cannot be president of Nigeria. That's quite unfair. You know, very vibrant, energetic.
has anybody said that?
No, I mean in our
In
calculation.
their actions, we are talking from
Nobody
the
has
actions.
said that.
Nobody has said that.
Directly.
Nobody has
But
said
don't
that.
forget that
Are they-
actions speak louder than
Yes.
their voices.
Are they prominent members of these political parties that we've highlighted, these two political parties? Are they frontliners? Are they stakeholders there? Those are the things that will determine.
Sure.
Do you get?
But don't forget that sometimes you can
If
go,
you're not a frontliner.
you can go for a technocrat. We have been having Nigeria governed by politicians who have no ideas about what governance always or
I'm
truly
just trying
means.
to play the devil's advocate here.
No, well, yes. Now you can try
APC
something
now.
different. You can try something
The
different.
governor of Ebonyi State actually decamped to the All Progressive Congress,
What has he done in Ebonyi?
thinking,
What he has
you
done
can say
in
that
Ebonyi.
again. No, go and check Abakaliki. Ebonyi is doing very, very well.
Before him, before him,
Under him.
the old man
That I
that
know.
handed
He
over
has
to him.
performed very
See,
well.
let me say this: what you do as governor may speak for you, but managing Nigeria is another thing.
Okay.
And we need to know whether you have the national name recognition.
Okay.
Not just election is some minutes away, you are jumping ship. No. We people need to know who you really are, the kind of politics you play. Have you been building bridges across, People will know, you understand my point? So we have tried politicians over and over. Each of these two big political parties can decide to say, okay, why don't we try, technocrats and see.
Sticks.
Well, I think the problem we've had over the past years is that there is a difference between Igbo presidency and Igbo president. Because we have had Yoruba president, but we never had Yoruba presidency. In the sense that the values that the overwhelming political forces here wanted to take to the national level were never expressed when President Obasanjo was there. If it had been Falai, it would have been a different game.
No, Falai would have been a Yoruba president.
So you could have an Igbo president that is picked by some hegemonic interest that will not represent their own. So that if we genuinely want the East to produce the president, we ask them, look, give us your best three and let us pick from that. Somebody that will interest, define your interest in the context of national interest. But like I said, the political calculation makes the Southeast to be at a disadvantage. In terms of registered voters, it's not as if they don't have population, but an average Igbo person, maybe they have lost interest in the political process. They want to face their business instead of going to queue for hours. And then you go to the north to see the number of registered voters. Even the Southwest, we have high number registered voters, but
we hardly vote. We don't vote.
Voting day, the percentage is going down by the day. So if you look at it, the North, is still strategically placed to produce the next president. So it means there must be a kind of tripod negotiation from either the Southwest or the Southeast on. But you cannot do without the North, as we see it in terms of electoral strength.
All right, moving on now. 1 year after the outbreak of COVID-19 in Nigeria, precisely, on the 27th of February 2020, it has been more than 155,000 infections and 1,900 deaths in the country. But hope is in the horizon as the federal government confirmed that the expected 4 million doses of Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine will arrive the country on Tuesday. Meanwhile, let's share this COVID-19 story with from Adedoja Salam Adeniyi, our correspondent, with you.
It started in Wuhan, China, setting everyone in a panic mood. It is novel and defying science. The virus kept every leader on their toes, and Nigerian leaders were no exception. In Nigeria, when an Italian brought coronavirus into the country, Nigerians and the government were gripped with fear. All that was needed was leadership. And one person stood out in the face of the pandemic. He is Babajide Sanwo-Olu, the 15th governor of Lagos State. Lagos officially announced its preparation for the coronavirus on 3rd of February 2020 by setting up an incident command system to ensure quick and effective response. A monitoring team stationed at the Muritala International Airport, the state built isolation centers, trained infectious diseases doctors were all on standby.
But expect people to be self-quarantined, but we are going to be doing a supervised quarantine.
But on 27th of February, coronavirus eventually arrived to Lagos through a 44-year-old Italian named David.
It is an Italian citizen who works in Nigeria and returned from Milan, Italy to Lagos, Nigeria on the 25th of February 2020. He actually landed here in the evening of the 24th, but by the time he got into his residence, Lagos already 25th.
I was also worried because I brought this virus in Nigeria, and for me it was a pity to arrive in Nigeria and bring this virus with me. And but I have only to give thanks to Nigeria, because Nigeria helped me, and every person was very, very kind, very good with me.
Managing Mr. David was all that was in the plate for Lagos until more infected people arrived through the same airport, leading to community spread. Then the real work began. Governor Sanwo-Olu's voice was the only one restoring hope and became the official response to the pandemic. The presidential task force were also busy briefing journalists. On 11th of March, when the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 as a public health crisis, Lagos further tightened the news.
We don't know what sort of damage this virus could do if it were to spread in a country with a weaker health system.
On 20th of March, social gathering measure began. The governor concerned that the numbers were going overboard and Lagos looking more like epicenter of the virus in Nigeria, banned clubs, bars, gyms and social and religious gatherings. On March the 29th, President Muhammadu Buhari announced a total lockdown that kicked off on the 30th of March 2020 at 11 p.m. in Lagos, Ogun and Abuja.
Based on the advice of the Federal Ministry of Health and the NCDC, I am directing the cessation of all movements in Lagos and the FCT for an initial period of 14 days with effect from 11 p.m. on Monday, 30th March 2020.
In the company of his deputy incident commander, the professor of medicine specializing in blood diseases and biosecurity, Akin Abayomi, Governor Sanwo-Olu and his deputy, Obafemi Hamzat, visited the isolation centers a couple of times to encourage frontline health workers. With adherence to safety protocol, the tide slowed down in September until December 2020, when the deadlier of second wave of COVID-19 began. I visited Marina State House to engage the incident commander who led the team of Lagos State first responders.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. Thank you, sir. Yes.
Tireless he is, and relentless in his fight to combat the virus. Has COVID-19 set back the state in any form?
It has, and I'm sure it's the same with other parts of the world.
Governor Sanwo-Olu told me the reason why the AstraZeneca vaccine, approved by NAFDAC for the use of Nigerians, will be administered with priority when it eventually arrives.
Our own vaccine protocol, which I think takes effect also from what we see nationally, is to make our entire health workers who are exposed to the virus a lot more than any other person. They are the first line of people that we need to administer the vaccine onto, right? So all of our health workers, be it a doctor, a nurse, a clerk, if you're in an health space and an health facility, you need to be the first set of people to have it, yes. Thereafter, we'll look at, our vulnerable 60 or 65 and above that have underlying health condition, that are very, very susceptible to the virus. They have underlying health issues in which, if they have the virus, they might be hit with other things. So,
as the battle continues and curve getting moderate, COVID-19 is a war, the incident commander says he is not ready to lose.
Wow. Now, we're getting there. If we're expecting this vaccine this week, gentlemen, if we get these vaccines, would that be a reason why I should not adhere to the non-pharmaceutical protocol that have been preferred to us? As in, not wearing my face mask because I'm immune to it.
Well,
I've gotten the vaccination. I want Nigerians want to know.
Let me tell you. I think government
can I be infected again?
Government has been talking about this, and you see groups like Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria and many other people in the medical industry. Let me tell you, the most dependable way to maintain, good health, to make sure you don't have problem, observe the non-pharmaceutical protocols. And they are simple. Where you have a large crowd, if you are there, please use your face mask. As much as possible, don't shake hands with people. As much as possible, wash your hands with soap. As much as possible, if you don't have soap, sanitize your hands and always do all the basic things. People shouldn't just believe you have vaccine and it's a liberty, it's a license to be reckless. No, it's good, but when you look at it from what the government has said so far, this vaccine, they are prioritizing medical officers first, and not just all medical officers, those who are on the front lines. So by the time they are doing, so it may not even reach our turn until later in the year. What's the quantity of what is 1 million? So we are in a country. So they have batches. It will be coming in batches, and as these things come, our country. I will be able to ensure that you don't take twice. I don't know how to twice. Nigerians, us. So, but when these 1 million, vaccines come, it means 1 million people will be taken care of. Mostly people, in the front lines, and I want to believe, political leaders.
Are you in the front line?
I'm not in the front line.
So you exempt yourself.
Yes, I'm not a medical officer, but I visited, COVID-19, treatment centers.
Okay.
This January, I was in IDH, and I entered into the wards, and I went there 5 times.
5 times?
Yes, and I did a special report, that was, serialized in the nation.
Oh, okay, maybe we should advocate for you.
No.
Now, we'll take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's Journalist Hangouts on Sunday, reaching you live from the station of the year, TVC News. And we are looking at the vaccination, COVID-19 vaccination we expect to come this week?
Yeah. It's good news, but this should not make us to relax. We still need to continue to obey the protocols. And like we have said here, the frontline communities, doctors, nurses. And I think this is why it's important to involve the Nigerian Medical Association and the Health Workers Union, the Nurses and Midwives Association, and also people in the aviation industry, airports, local international airports.
That are exposed.
Yes, that are exposed, they are vulnerable. So I think, and also people above the age of 65. So I think we need to...
For 1 million people, yeah.
Yes.
When you want to do the demographics.
Yes, when we are starting, we should...
That's honestly, that's very small. But do you know, the problem we have, why the government cannot just get 200 million, doses and say, we don't have the national infrastructure for coaching. And so that's why government will be doing it in batches. Because what we have is what we can handle, what we can accommodate is what we will get. If we want to say, after all, we have all the money and we are in a hurry to get it, let's buy everything. At the end of the day, we can't be productive. I think that's what the government is trying to say, okay, let's do it in batches. You understand me?
No, so, he was saying expressly that, look at when you look at the number of people between ages 65 above, that they might fall into that 1 million. As in, they might still, you can still say, oh, Nigerians above, our life expectancy is 54?
45.
Now, that's dropped.
For women,
43
for men.
So what the government is trying to do, fortify the medical, front lines first. Then when you do that, you graduate. I think in the next few weeks, another batch will come in. As before they exhaust this one, from the explanations from, the Minister of Health, and he's been talking very well lately.
So are we, hopefully before the end of this year,
yes,
we should have gotten to 50%, because
by government
it's so
60.
ridiculous that we weren't able to test up to 1%. Out of 200 million people. Do you understand? When we're conducting our tests, it's so frustrating that with all the effort, with all the billions, with all the mobilization, with all the talks, we don't know. Like last week, someone said, we discussed it, that the survey said, I think out of every 5 people in Lagos,
23% of the population.
Population in Lagos.
So we have millions. By that survey,
it's moving with COVID. They're moving with COVID-19.
Yeah, and got healed by themselves, not by necessarily
because of the immune system.
But we couldn't do adequate tests to know who at any point in time. So I think we are even playing down on the issue of tests now.
Yes,
because we don't have the infrastructure. The health system is in chaos. You know what we have now.
We are going to engage the same. We are going to confront the same problem, which is corruption. Even as we speak now, people are talking about fake vaccines, in the country. So, and then we need to ensure that this does not come under political influences. The vaccine that is coming, so that we don't say, oh, members of, after, then you go to members of House of Assembly, go to commissioners,
members of
their families and children. So these are the, so there must be
friends of politicians.
A high level of transparency. And that's why there should be kind of a mechanism for monitoring to ensure that this vaccine gets to the target audience. So at the end of the day, we can make sure that, because that's the only way you can prevent the spread. If you focus on health workers, the frontline workers.
So ultimately, we expect that at the end of this year, we know where we're getting to, and we'll be able to flatten the curve.
As far as we know so far, I think Nigeria has done very well in this
managing this crisis.
Let's be honest. We know we like to criticize the government. It is not that the government has done the very best or their approaches, but there are a lot of things that have worked. Many of them, maybe our weather, maybe our immune system, or whatever is the case. But don't forget.
Ultimately, the death rates, looking at the death rates.
We are far, far better off down.
South Africa.
Countries where they have solid health system. In spite of our chaotic health system, we still manage this COVID-19 crisis, and we deserve to applaud ourselves. We did this one, and
United States recorded
very soon we get out of it.
500,000 infections, deaths last week.
In South Africa.
No, United States.
United. Look at the deaths in South Africa, in spite of their healthcare system. Look at the rate at which they test. They are testing in South Africa. In spite of that, see what has happened. Yeah. We are able to test as much as we should.
1%.
And we thank God. Let's just say God. God factor. I want to believe. Because we are religious people. Yeah. I believe it's God factor. If not,
sure.
The predictions that they will be picking deaths on the streets. God said no. I won't allow that to happen. And we thank God for that.
Thank God. All right, finally, intense politicking, mudsliding, and underground scheming are brewing within the All Progressive Congress, APC. With 4 months to the National Convention of APC, 6 governors have commenced intense moves for the national chairmanship seats of the party. This is battling for the soul of the party, and this is like a presidential election ahead of presidential election. Yeah. Whoever gets this, whichever faction gets this, might just, will just be laying claim to the soul of the All Progressive Congress.
Yeah. I think the position of the chairman is very critical, strategic to future elections. And we expect the caretaker committee chairman, whose tenure expires in June. We expect this convention to come before then. There are the 6 governors. We have George Akume, we have Kashim Shettima, we have Modu Sharif, we have Senator Tanko Al-Makura. Al-Makura was in CPC.
So Al-Makura was the only sitting governor.
Yes.
Under,
then we have Abdulaziz Yari and then Danjuma Goje, former Gombe State governor. If you look at what is emerging, the past the chairmen we have had in the past, they were all former governors, beginning from Akonde, Oyegun, and then Oshomole. So I think the caucuses, I refer them to as conservative. I don't want to call them reactionary, and then the reformists in APC. I think they are the ones that will fight out this, the struggle for the conservative people. They want is a firm, a totalitarian grip on the party, and they want to determine. In fact, they want to control the structure of the party and produce the president, the next president, not necessarily following democratic means. While the reformists that I think represented by the Lagos group wants the party to be run on an egalitarian values, address the problem of restructuring, have a bigger country that is more accommodating. But I think it's going to be a big battle between the two tendencies. But from what we are seeing, if tradition is to be any guide to us, if the president of the chairman of the party is coming from the north, it suggests that the president may come from the south, but it's not given. We may have the president of the party before 2023. We don't know what may happen. So if the president of the party emerges from the north, the chairman of the party, it could also be a kind of a decoy, because for us to now conclude that the president will come automatically because we have picked the chairman from the north, it's too early to do that. But I think there is one thing that is clear.
Buhari, in pen and paper. Buhari. If it's coming from the north, yes. There's this rotational.
Yes.
So the presidential candidate
should come from the yes, definitely. But we don't know what will happen between now and 2010. Okay. But the fact of the matter is that Buhari is like the star actor in the party. Well, when he leaves the party 2000, I think the people in the gallery may take their leave. So the future of this party still depends much on the governing factor, which is Buhari. We hope nothing happens to him.
Now, when it comes to party leadership, when it comes to orchestrating, moving things within the party, the president seemed to be very, very reluctant. He's not somebody that will always put his hand, like the Olusegun Obasanjo we know, that we ask how do we write your resignation party, I will letter, come and eat with me and everything. But it takes the last minute for the Mr. President to actually intervene in anything, party. Beyond the Yobe State Governor's tenure, what do you expect? Who do you think will emerge from this hot race?
Oh, if you look at the style of this president, he's somebody that doesn't forget a favor, especially if you are his own type of person, no matter how small the favor is. That I can say about President Muhammadu Buhari. With that, the former Gombe State Governor, I have in mind.
That's
no, Gombe, former Gombe State Governor. Goje. Danjuma Goje. You know the influence Danjuma Goje, pulled before the inauguration of this current assembly. And it took only President Muhammadu Buhari few hours before inauguration for him to pull out. You remember? And he was rewarded with a few other things. EFCC, this and that. You remember? When you want to look at Danjuma Goje, he was a great governor. He did excellently well in his state when he was there for 8 years. That's one. In the party today, he's a ranking senator. Then he will have the backing of many members of the National Assembly. Then many former and serving governors. That I can say. That's one. There's another person that people may not talk about too much because he hardly talks too. That's Senator Al-Makura.
CPC.
Don't forget that today in APC is a highly, respected fellow because even up to the time they formed APC, he was the only surviving CPC governor, if you remember. Then in the APC today, he enjoys that, status. You understand my point? Then his own ambition is not even fueled by his own interest, or if I want to say, he's governor. The current one, the one that succeeded him, Governor Sule, is the one, rallying people in the state and outside that having this man, in charge of APC will help. And in APC today,
contrary to what
the strongest bloc is not ACN, it's CPC, because that is where Buhari himself, the president, sees himself that he has come from here.
The legacy party.
Believe me, those two you cannot. Then third, if you go to Borno State, the governor that Shetima is also a very, very strong and pragmatic politician. Despite all the problems, in Borno, you know what he did? They see him as very vocal, very fearless, very pragmatic. So in APC today, you cannot say they have a problem of lack of great, politicians that can manage that party. They have abundance. When we come back to Benue State, the Minister of Special Duties, George Akume, is also highly influential. But I know a lot of things may want to work against him, but and many people in the cabinet are also routing for him. They believe that he has worked with President Muhammadu Buhari. He will be able to, bring some of the visions of the president into party affairs and all that. Some of those who are backing him are saying all this. So if you go, you see the man from Borno, that Alimodu Sheriff, you know, he's a founding member of APC. Many people always see him as a PDP. He was never a PDP person. He just, at a point, many people thought... to
bury PDP. He almost buried PDP.
So, and I think his past is not too good. I'm sorry to say this. You know, there's no way he can wash himself of all these crises, some of the crises we're having, even, you know, Boko Haram. Then his level of opulence, some people may not be comfortable with that. It's a strict, he's war chest. I don't think anybody among the six can compete with him.
So the war chest will not be a factor?
No, it will not be a factor. You know, the interest of this president, because everybody, either you are a state governor or you are president, you will have interest in who will succeed you. Forget some of our people who are saying, I will just leave, I will make sure I don't interfere. It's a lie. They are the ones that will interfere. Fayoshe, when he came the second time, I was there, he told us, we were seated, that he was telling Eleka, I picked you from this, I'm telling you right now.
You are not going to contest, you are not going to succeed me.
You are there too.
Yes, the
he said it to us, then he said it in his friend.
That I'm looking for someone that will not be ambitious, someone that will not succeed
me. But at the end of the day, who was crying more than the bereaved? It was the same Fayoshe. So don't believe that anybody will not have interest in who succeeds him. Everybody does have interest. This president will have interest. If a Southerner will succeed him, he will have interest in who is comfortable with.
You might not voice it out, but
the president doesn't have to say it out if he instruct. This is it. You understand my point? Then, if it's coming from the north, maybe we don't know, it's the same thing will happen. So anywhere the next president will emerge from, they know the role the chairman of the party will play in it. It's enormous. So the game starts from this level.
So whoever emerges as the chairman is critical to APC's 2023 presidential ambition.
Yeah, absolutely. All the candidates have tasted what electoral politics means. Some are, you know, even actually were two-time governors. So it's not going to be strange to them. I think the party wants somebody who can mobilize, you know, across the country, who has knowledge about the terrain in terms of politicking. And like I said, two forces will lock horns to produce the next chairman of the party. I think it would be better for the party if they could reach a consensus candidate. Because there is also the prospect that if the chairman fails to emerge through democratic means, it has the potential of affecting the unity of the party. We may not see the impact immediately, but after some time,
if they can't, if all stakeholders cannot reach consensus on an individual,
the process is not democratic.
Yes, the party might be balkanized. Some people might pull away from the party.
And that on the suggestion that the president is not interested. Every time the APC is always in crisis, right from the moment they won election. But the president has a way of always saving the day. He will just tell you where he belongs, and everybody will fall into line. You understand me? At that moment, I believe you will see President Muhammadu Buhari. If they do it into votes and we are going to convention, you will see the level of acrimony that will consume the party, because it is not a united party. It is a party that is totally, always divided against itself. But the president is always saving the day. Just as he said, the rallying point of that party today, and which for some time to be, is President Muhammadu Buhari. If he exits the stage today, Buhari said,
it will definitely not be on the next ballot list. It's regular 12 million sure votes.
But can campaign. But can campaign.
Yes, definitely. That equation will be altered this time around, because it's no longer Buhari. Even if it's going to be Buhari's image, the Buhari we knew in 2015, the public impression is not the same. I don't know whether
acceptance.
Public impression, public perception. You know, so I think Unfortunately, the opposition is not feasting on the weaknesses. Rather, the PDP is even submitting its best hands, you know, to be taken over by the APC.
Do you know the problem of the real beginning of the problems of PDP? You can't be led by a person who has never faced in electoral elections. You need people who have passed through it. I'm sorry, I'm not campaigning against secondaries, but you have former governors, you have former ministers, you have former this, former that. People who have gone through elections in life, they know the nuances of the political terrain. You understand my point? They can galvanize, they can organize. What the current leadership of PDP has done so far is, oh my God, wow. If you use the street, language. So has it provided, the real opposition, that it should be?
And PDP seems to be informally factionalized.
Because you have no...
The article tendency and the decay tendency.
That will always happen in a political party, because big guys will always want to have ambition, and when you have ambition, it's not a criminal thing. You understand? You need leadership to galvanize all this. Even in the APC, don't you see the tendencies coming up? People who have ambition, the party is already factionalized. But the truth is that you have a president in place, and when the time comes, he will save the day, I believe.
That's very, very important. But ultimately, we intend that this convention committee, they must do whatever they want to do, and they have a mandate, and the tenure was elongated, and I don't see that tenure being elongated again.
No, it's now 1 year, so there should be a convention. And I think
it's meant to be a convention.
Yes, it to be the interest of the APC to have a transparent election.
So they must.
No matter what influence anybody has, let people see it that, it's a transparent election that can lead to the emergence of at least somebody that is 60% acceptable to the members of the party.
Me, unfortunately, I don't believe a convention will come between now and June. You need to mingle in the party and get the feelers. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to say that's the definitely, but I'm not saying that coming. And they may have to be faced with the option of maybe another 2 months or 3 months to organize. The situation in the country, even the moon is not, you see what is happening, insecurity all over. Most of the governors are distracted now. I have to admit, many of them, even though they love to play politics, the real problem that is, sapping their energy now is security. So they are all having it. Dangerous. So if we go this way, because we don't know when the next mass abduction will happen. Yes, we don't know. And our country has, descended to that level, that low level. So we need to do something about that if they're able to solve this problem between June. And don't forget that majority of the states now are under APC. So they will just come up with the impression, this. But it is easy if they want to do it. After all, under this caretaker committee, they dissolved elected structures of the party and put in place caretaker committee. Any temporary leadership that enjoys that kind of power can do anything. Because if you, an unelected temporary, order of power, is powerful enough to, destroy elected structures of the party, and nobody is saying anything, it shows how powerful that temporary leadership is. So to me, anything can still happen.
I want to thank you, Wale Adeyi. I want to thank you, Adekule Yusuf.
I'm also
glad
to thank you very much.
We hope to come back with Journalist Hangout tomorrow, and that's it on Journalist Hangout Sunday. Join us tomorrow for a regular episode of the program at 5 p.m. 5 p.m. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. God bless Nigeria, and bye for now.